wife and I did this rock planting in 2003, I think. We called it Cindy's Tumble because after we'd spent the whole day working on it, getting it planted and everything, she sat down and it was sitting on a turntable, not very sturdily on a bucket, and I told her to spin it and just to spin it around so she could look at it, and she spun it and it fell, and so it became Cindy's Tumble. But it's been 7 years, so it is time to do some work on this rock planting. I'm going to take all the moss off. I'm going to see what condition the roots are in. This rock does have a pretty good hole in it that this tree's sitting in, so there'll be some of that I can't get to, but after I take the moss off, I think I'll see what the roots are doing, and then I may prune back some of the roots, add new muck on top of all of that, and then remoss it. So I'll also probably prune the trees. I know I want to prune the azalea. It's gotten much larger over the years than I originally intended it to be, but we'll see what happens. So I want to clean up the stone some too. It's algae and whatnot is starting to grow on it a little bit. So, all right, that's the project for today. We'll see how it goes. One of the first things I was doing was removing all of the blooms from the azalea. This is a little Chinson azalea. I don't know if it's going to show in the video, but it's got a little whitefly damage on the leaves. But what I'm doing now is removing the flowers and then also removing the little seed pod that's left after the flowers leave. Often you'll see it. It still has. Let's see one. It still has. Okay, I've jumped ahead a little bit. I have now pruned the boxwood. I also pruned the azalea. I may go back and take a little more off the azalea, haven't decided yet, but the other thing I've done is remove the moss. So now what you can see is the muck and the little root tips coming out from the boxwood. So at this point, my next objectives are to try to expose some of the roots of the boxwood. And then also to use a chopstick. I'm going to use a couple of chopsticks, and I'm going to take off a ½ inch, or we'll just see how it goes, of muck on the outside here, so that I can put some fresh back on there. So that'll be the other part of the next process. So, all right. Okay, I've now taken the water hose and used the water hose to blast off probably at least an inch of muck, and then I've also gone through and trimmed the roots back. There were many more roots, but so at this point I'll come back in and add that layer of muck back on top, giving this a fresh layer here. So I think it's going to be important when I'm adding that layer that I penetrate it with some holes down into this other muck, so that it all gets good and connected. Of course, the roots will do that soon enough. I store my muck in balls just to stays a little wetter that way, I don't know, but anyhow, all I'm going to do now is just kind of place the muck here and use my fingers to really try to make a good solid connection between the older muck, and I think it's important to note here that this older muck really needs to be wet in order to do this well. So of course I blasted off the older, some of the root muck with the water hose, so that added to the moisture level of the existing muck. once I've got the muck on and contoured the way I'd like it, I'll reapply the moss. Okay, the muck is all on. It's time to start applying the moss. I have some scraps of moss from the old one that I'm going to reuse in some places, and then I'm going to actually have to go out and get some better moss. So I'm going to put some of the lichens on. Again, contact is really important here. Applying a wet surface to a wet surface and then making sure that it's secure, making contact in all areas. The thing with muck is you really have to put on moss, otherwise the muck will just wash away over a period of time, and that kind of defeats the whole purpose. So it is essential to put and keep moss on any rock planting that has muck, otherwise the muck is just going to wash right away. Not going to moss all of this, as I said. I want to come in and put some good green moss in. But I'm going to have to go collect some of that. But I'll need to do that today because otherwise it will the muck will immediately begin to erode. Okay, the finished work. The trees have been pruned. The muck has been removed and refreshed. The moss has been removed. Some of it's put back on. Some of I put some fresh back on. So this little guy has gotten its tune-up for this year. So rock plantings again. This has been 7 years since I had originally created this rock planting, and you know, after I looked at it, it probably could have gone a couple more years. There weren't really as many roots as I figured there would be. So, but the tree's done well. I look forward to a few more years. So, thanks for watching.